good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Kemp with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. I'm super pumped. We have an incredible guest tonight. He is on the cutting edge of stuff for your brain. He has developed the first brain tonic beverage that has been called a nootropic that has ever been sold in Whole Food stores across the globe among 1,400 independent stores. He's written a couple books, so he is definitely a very dynamic and someone that you really want to listen to. Please welcome Scott Ohlgren. Scott, thank you for joining us today. Please introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit about your background.
Well, you kind of nailed it. I know for many years, my background has been in, or my business has been in creating what they call nootropic formulas.
Oh, I said it wrong. Sorry. Okay.
No, you did great. You did great. It's basically any substance that has a cognitive benefit to it. And that cognition effect can be, it can be mental focus. It can be uplift of spirit. It can be lessening of depression or lessening of anxiety, but it can also be things such as releasing of mental fog or help you concentrate, help you stay motivated, help you basically get into the zone. Yeah. And my passion, especially over the last 6-7 years, as I've watched what's going on in our country, I've realized, we really need an education around how to better deal with our mental health. And what we're seeing, or what I'm seeing, is that mental health right now is kind of the two tools that people use are talk therapy, which is awesome. I mean, this is what we're doing right here, is we're all listening to each other, we're responding, we've got ideas. Talk therapy is phenomenal. And then the second tool, which has become very popular in America in particular, is pharmaceutical medicines. And they kind of fall into a couple different categories, but one is more the amphetamine for those who are, feel like they're ADHD, they've got attention problems, they are lack of concentration, they have mental fog and so forth. Those are kind of the amphetamines that many people are familiar with. We've got over 15 million Americans now taking those particular drugs. And I believe that is having ultimately a very detrimental effect on the well-being and kind of the social structure of our country. And then the other pharmaceuticals are for those who are dealing with depression, anxiety, and that number is climbing as well, 35 million. So I'm 65 years old, and for the last 35 years, I have done very little else other than study and then work in the field of what they call nutraceuticals, plant-based solutions for those things that we are talking about here. And so my drive is not so much to talk about my own particular product, which I think is the best one out there right now, but to really get people thinking that if they're dealing with mental health issues, one of the first places they should be looking at is kind of the nutritional. And nutritional isn't really the word that describes what this is, because most people then think, well, I got to eat better. I should probably eat more natural foods. I should eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, more organic substances and so forth. That's good. But what I want to show people is that for hundreds of years, the West Indian, the Eastern Indian, the Eastern Asian, and even the African ways of dealing with this have all been with these particular plants. And there's about 400,000 plants on Earth. There's a fraction of maybe 20,000 that humans have figured out that we can eat. We can't eat some things because they don't taste good, or they're poisonous, or you can't end up cooking them, you can't chew them, whatever. But out of those 20,000, there's a handful that Americans and many Western cultures are not familiar with, that in fact are very effective in helping with mental health. So that's why I'm here. That's why we're talking about all this.
I love it. And I'm very passionate about it. So I like before we started recording, I told you I was reading your bio again, and I told you a little bit of my family history. We're very strong believers in natural, therapy, taking supplements. Not really, we don't quickly turn to modern medicine to prescribe me something for this. We really wanted to like kind of get to like um, the natural fix or the natural like thing that can help us get over that issue. And when you talk about mental health, you know, I see mental health as like it can be broken up into many different like layers, I guess you would say. You know, there are those people that need the prescription based therapy for themselves because they're, I mean, I guess for whatever reason, their chemicals are so out of whack that they don't know how to function correctly. But then there's also the mental health where you have that fog, you have that like that slow down or what have you. I occasionally feel that, and I think that's probably because I'm a woman. My hormones go crazy certain times of the month, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't think straight. But I do take a nootropic, or how'd you pronounce it?
Nootropic. That's great.
Nootropic.
What? Yeah, nootropic. What are you taking yourself right these days?
So I take many different things. Like I said, I know I've had your drink before, your
Drink.
tonic before, because I read that. I'm like, oh yeah, I've had this. But I also discovered Bomar Nutrition. They have a nootropic that I really like. It does have a little bit of caffeine in there, but it's not too stimulanty where it's like making me real edgy and jittery. I really like it. It helps me refocus and get back
Yes.
on track. And so
Perfect.
yeah, right. And I'm a big believer in a lot of this stuff. And so I guess one of my questions would be, as someone that's an expert in this area, if someone was to apply this into their life now and on a continuous basis, let's say, you know, if they should they do it if they're feeling foggy, or should they do it maybe like a couple times a week to help prevent any brain health deterioration?
Well, there's science behind every one of the active ingredients that we use in our particular formula. And by the way, my name of the company is Synaptic Scientific. So if they go to synapticscientific.com, it's a long word, I know. We couldn't find the short ones. They're all
That's all
taken. But
right.
synaptic, you know, like the synapses in your
Do you
brain,
have any
scientific.
samples that you can show?
I do. I
Yeah,
do.
let's see it.
What makes this kind of unique
Here we
is
go.
that, and it's actually, you know, one of the things you do in any business is you learn from your mistakes. And one of the mistakes I made with that drink that sold in all Whole Foods, 1,400 independents, we were selling over 2 million cans of this a
Yeah.
year. Well, one of the mistakes I made was that all of these plants that have a cognitive boosting effect, and that's either lessening of brain fog, increase of motivation, but also that increase in the uplift in mood.
Yeah.
All those plants are very bitter, like really bitter. They're
Yeah.
the most bitter. They're all the alkaloids of these particular plants. So what a lot of manufacturers do is they sweeten it up, or they thin it out, or they dry it, which kind of fries the ingredients. And what we decided to do this time is actually keep it in a liquid form. So this is truly a brain tonic, and a tonic, like, I mean, some listeners who are old enough remember your mom giving you, you know, whatever it was, cod liver oil or something
Yeah.
like that. It's pretty strong. Now I can just put it straight into a spoon and I put it in my mouth. I'm okay with that because I'm used to bitter foods. But
Sure.
we generally suggest people to mix it either in water or some kind of like juice. I love it with lemonade or orange juice. It
Yeah.
really helps cut but basically that's it. That's what it looks like.
I love it.
And what's great is that, you know, a 4-ounce bottle will last you 6 weeks, sometimes even almost 2 months. You're not using very much. You're just a few pumps,
Yeah.
and you put it into a spoon, maybe about a half a teaspoon. For some people, I'm 6'8" and
Oh my gosh,
235
you're
pounds.
very tall.
Hey, I come from Wisconsin, just north of you, you know, so a lot of those guys up there were
Midwest grown.
Midwest grown. Yeah, those, you know, Norwegians and Swedes and all that. You know, the strong Polish stock, all that. My parents were tall. Anyways, I use a bit more, maybe about a teaspoon.
Yeah.
But for most people, it's just very small amount and does it for them.
Cheers to the new year's and to making resolutions you actually keep. Have you added self care to your routine? I know I have very much into self care. My man is, yes, he is definitely keeping it tight. Our sponsors at Manscaped have the perfect tools to help keep you and your significant other clean and tidy this year. Manscaped tools for his jewels are so good, you'll want them for yourself. The Lawnmower 4.0 is all you'll need for his balls and your bikini line. You know what's up, ladies. Set your first New Year's resolution with good intentions and join the 4 million people worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use code labelfree20 for 20% off plus free shipping. Happy New Year's, you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate all your support. Go over to manscaped.com, use the code labelfree20 for 20% off and free shipping. So do you recommend something like that, whether it's your product or something else along those lines, which obviously, hopefully you do your research, you find out if they're using good ingredients and not sugaring it too much, because sugar is not good for you either.
Correct.
You suggest that people do that on a daily basis, or just
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, especially if you're dealing with some kind of acute situation or chronic situation, heck yeah. I mean, there's certain supplements that I take every day.
Yeah.
I need to, you know, tall people have a classic. Oftentimes they've got leg nerve problems because we're just so long.
Yeah.
So we have to take those things such as, I'm trying to think of the names of some of the stuff like potassium and magnesium. Those I take every day. And if I miss a few days, I get crampy. You know, my legs get, you know, especially at night, I get that, you know, but as long as I'm taking that every single day, it's kind of the same thing with this. A lot of times people will, once they do it, once they find it, they'll take it every single day. And even a couple of times a day, they'll take it in the morning and a little bit afternoon, because you do get this kind of pickup, this mental focus. So it's really, really great with people who have to study or have to focus, or they're coders. Coders are one of my, you know, they're probably my biggest fans, is the people who work or study or write. I have got friends who write books and write for magazines and so forth. They send me love letters. It's great.
I love it. I'm just writing some of that stuff down just because of hooks for when I actually do release it. So I'm a big believer, and I would have to agree that when I do, I don't take it daily, which maybe now I might start doing that, and I'm gonna have to go grab your product and your product again, because it's been a while. But I do feel, I do get, like, I'm able to focus more. I'm able to, you know, because I have a lot of different things going on every day. So I can get a little distracted, like squirrel, you know, shiny object. Oh my God. But when I do take a nootropic, I am able to focus. It keeps me on task. I don't have like that dip in the middle of the day where I'm like, oh, I'm dragging, you know, and I can't, like, I have the fog that you're talking about. It has definitely been a game changer for me, especially when I am managing so many different projects every single day. So I really like believe in it, and I can attest to it.
You know, and in fact, if any of your listeners go to my website, tell them that they can, if they put in the code FIRST10, first and then the number 10, so FIRST10, they'll get 10% off, and our shipping is very cheap. It's only $4.95 no matter how much they order. So, and we ship it priority mail the next day. So they'll get it really fast, and that'll give them a little bit of a discount.
Awesome. I'm gonna put that in the
Please
title.
do.
That's awesome. I want to actually ask a question, like, you know, what we've been going through with this whole pandemic or whatever. You know, I have different views than I'm sure a lot of people out there, but most people are listening. If you've been listening for a while, you know my views on everything. So I know that COVID, a lot of people have had COVID have like a fog after they get it.
That's right.
So what do you tell people about this product that could help them with that fog and help them with their brain health? Because supposedly COVID does affect their brain functionability long term.
Oh, without a doubt, I would say get a bottle, try it out. You know, of course, you know, we don't know what it's going to do for anybody. It's going to work differently for everybody. Sure. And so there can be no guarantees. All we will guarantee is that if you don't like it and you don't get results, especially for those who are dealing with those issues, that especially post-COVID, if you don't get results, just return the bottle. We'll refund everything.
Yeah. Have you had people like that have specifically reached out to you that bought it for that and have benefited?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Can you share any reviews that they shared with you?
Well, it gets kind of tricky, it's the FDA really frowns upon the owner of a company, talking about the results, because it starts to sound like you're making claims. So
Well, not necessarily claim, because you can't claim that it does this, that, or the other thing, but
correct.
someone that may have been suffering from those symptoms that said, hey, this helped me, not actually claiming that it did from your perspective, but from a customer that bought it from you.
Yeah. Here's what I would suggest. We can post people's verbatim
Okay.
stories and texts that we get, and we post them all on our website, and the people will see. The other thing that I would suggest that people do is that on that first opening page, we clearly state every single one of the active ingredients that we use. And we encourage people to do the search. If they go to Google Scholar and do a search for any one of those ingredients, they will see the studies that are being done with mental health and those particular active ingredients. So every one of our, I got a lot of help in creating this formula. My partner is a PhD double botanist. He was born and raised in India. He comes from a long background of botany. In fact, he actually is hired by pharmaceutical companies to help with their plant-based formulas that they are creating, because that's how the world is turning. They're starting to realize we need to turn to nature for that. So it was really through him that he helped formulate this particular, as they call it, a stack of the nutraceutical ingredients.
That's awesome. And so how long did it take for him to create that stack?
Well, a lot longer than we thought. But it's interesting with manufacturing that the biggest thing that takes the longest amount of time and the most expense is in formulation. And because even though these are all bitter, we wanted to make it so that it was palatable.
Sure.
So and that took a lot longer. I thought we would get that done in a month, and it took us 9 months.
Holy cow.
So yeah, but it's the pandemic. So I mean, what else are you going to do? And again, the pandemic, I owe the pandemic for making this, because my frustration level at watching what was happening in my country was, it was putting me into a depression. And so I really thought, well, this is stupid. I know this stuff. I know the people to contact to help me put it together. And I had also been reading about a new technology in plant extraction that my partner was directly connected with over in India. And once I learned that's what changed it, because this new extraction technology allows you to do extraordinary levels of potency that we were not able to get 10 years ago when I was making the drink that you tried in Whole Foods. We weren't able to do that. So back then, if you got a 5-to-1 potency, you were happy. Now we're looking at 50-to-1 or 60-to-1. So, for those listening, imagine taking 100 pounds of some plant that has, just use coffee beans, for instance. Everyone's familiar with the plant that most people, that's a nootropic. That's a classic nootropic. It's an overused nootropic because everyone just thinks caffeine and therefore stimulant. There's no stimulants in here. These all work directly with helping the brain with the nutrients that the brain uses up, and they are lacking in the brain. So take 100 pounds of, say, tea leaves or cocoa beans or coffee beans, and then through this process called supercritical fluid extraction, you come out with just 1 pound or 1.5 pounds of the active part of that plant. People can start to picture how concentrated that this is.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well,
congratulations on all your success and all your adventures along the way, figuring this out and coming to such an incredible product. Where can people, I know you plugged it once, but can you plug it again? Where can people support you, follow you, find you?
They'll find my name. I'm the only Scott Ohlgren in the known universe, so they can find me on Facebook, and they can also find Synaptic Scientific on Facebook, or they can go to the website synapticscientific.com. And again, they can put in that 10% coupon. That first 10. First 10, and that will get them a little discount off of the price.
That's awesome. And are you on LinkedIn as well?
I am. Yeah, people can find me who are business oriented. They'll find me there as well.
Awesome. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, before we start wrapping things up and saying goodbye, I always like to ask my guests to leave the audience with some last words of wisdom or advice. So what would you like to leave with the audience today before we say goodbye?
Look beyond what you may know about mental health. Look and find the people who are succeeding in the mental health realm. We're all human. We're all dealing with extraordinary levels of stress and fear and unknown. This is an unknown time. This is at least for our generation. So look for those solutions outside of what perhaps you've been told, and look, please, at the plant method. It's it's here. The universe, God, the earth gave it to us, and it is time for us to elevate our consciousness, our way of thinking, our critical thinking skills and by using what the earth has given us.
Amen, my brother. Woo-hoo! I love it. Thank you, Scott, so much for being a guest. You're truly a dynamic individual, living your life label-free, finding these different formulas to help people function better cognitively, have better mental health. So you guys go, I will put all of his links in the show notes. So go click on those links, follow him, support him, check him out. Go to Whole Foods, see if they've got the tonic for you. Do they still carry it there?
No. It's now the only place to get. We're no longer selling that brain tonic. Oh. It's too weak. Oh. This is 2022. People need big.
Oh yes, medicine. Yes, I think so.
So this is the only stuff we're using right now.
Okay? Awesome. Okay, well then go to their website, check it out. Use that code FIRST10. And pick yourself up a bottle for yourself or for a loved one that might be having some issues with any brain fog or just needing some general mental health, period. So this is your host, Deanna Kemp of Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, follow, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.